folks, and welcome to a surprise stream. Doing a little Slant LIMA adventure down here in the Down Under, mate. That's right, we're gonna go fly in Australia. We're gonna go pretend we'd be pilots, mate. Alright, I'm not gonna be able to sustain that very long. St. Rock has already checked in and said good luck on your flight. Thank you, sir. I know you're flying, I think. So I've decided to fly from Adelaide up to Sydney. I think you're doing Brisbane to Sydney, so I guess we'll meet in the middle, right? Alright, this is going to be an experiment. I know, it was terrible. St. Rock says it was an awful accent. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm not going to try and do the whole stream in it. For God's sake, I'm not going to put you all through that. At any rate, this is somewhat of an experiment. First of all, it's what they call FNO Down Under, Friday Night Ops Down Under. So Friday Night Ops is pretty much a VATUSA thing. Every Friday night there's some sort of a major VATSIM event in VATUSA somewhere. But tonight, and they've done this a couple times now, I guess this is the second that I'm aware of, but they may have done it a few times that I missed. But it's Friday Night Ops, in which it's and they're staffing up the entire east coast of Australia. Take a look at that, see what that looks like. And so it's an event that's geared for American pilots to fly in the Great Down Under when they wouldn't have an opportunity to do so, since most of the time Australia is lit up. It's very early in the morning here in the States. So this is an event, and it's Saturday morning, early Saturday morning down there. They're 14 hours ahead of Eastern time, if I remember correctly, and I'm doing the math correctly. 14 to 15 hours ahead of Eastern time. So it's Saturday morning down there, but they're doing it as a Friday Night Ops for us Yanks and anyone else who wants to pop in and take advantage of air traffic control coverage in Australia at a time that you wouldn't probably ordinarily see it to this level. So I am over here at Adelaide, and I'm going to be flying up here to Sydney. Oh no, that's Brisbane. Sydney's down here. So more or less, they're a straight eastbound flight. Brisbane's our alternate for tonight, just so you know. But going to do Adelaide to Sydney, and I think we're going to go ahead and get rolling. I am in the PMDG. Holy cow! Look at that sucker. I am in the. Good gracious. A little wingtip strike there. That's all right. Welcome to VATSIM. Who knows what that pilot is actually logged in as? But they're showing it as a Lufthansa A380. Anyway, so we're in the PMDG 737 in FSX, again, because the Zibo mod just doesn't fly at a high enough frame rate for me. So I decided that if I want to do the occasional airliner flight, I got to hop back into the FSX installation, resurrect that, and do my airliner flying there. So that's what this is, and I still am operating off of my Zibo mod checklist, so there's probably a few things I'm going to screw up here order-wise, but I'm going to do my best, and I think we're going to go ahead and get going. I did find a flight route on FlightAware, which is interesting to me because I thought that was all FAA stuff, but this route seems to be the most commonly route flown between Adelaide and Sydney. Pankey, H247, Kulin, Y59, Rivet, and the departure procedure that we get is going to be dependent upon our runway. So we'll get that assigned to us by the controller, but I'm going to file it just as it's shown there. Haven't even filed it yet. And we're flying, even though I'm in a Southwest livery for you guys, I'm logged on as Velocity 401. That's VOZ, Victor Oscar Zulu 401. So I should be showing up to others as a Virgin Australia 737, hopefully, if all goes well for them. It really doesn't matter to me what livery I show up in. The only reason I choose the Southwest livery is because I know I've got all of my preferred configurations set in this airframe in the PMDG. So I have the option not to have my shaky yoke disconnect my autopilot set. I have the option not for the heads-up display. I have the option for the analog backup instruments, a couple of the other settings that I prefer to have to perform the flight successfully. Particularly that autopilot one, because I know that tends to be a big problem when my autopilot won't stay engaged because because my hardware is just a little bit too shanky. Speaking of hardware, I was having, well, I guess it is working. If this hat switch is working, then I guess we're good to go. I was having some controller connectivity issues earlier, but I think we're good now. Is Discord still picking up my push to talk? That's the wrong push to talk. Yeah, it is. Okay, good. It helps if I hit the right one. Maybe that was the problem earlier. But yeah, Discord is picking up my push to talk here, and obviously vPilot is as well. All right. So let us go ahead and get rolling. And get back into the airplane if I can remember how. It's going to be. We're going to go to the outside. We're going to go to the top-down view here, but then we're going to get back into the airplane there. Okay. Yeah, and you can see my yoke is kind of. Ooh, my yoke is really tilted sideways. What's going on there? Okay. Might have to try disconnecting and reconnecting the yoke again. Hold on, guys. Because that's not going to fly, literally. Figure out which of these suckers it is. Alright. We're still on? Yeah, that's not going to work. All right, guess we got to restart FSX. All right, tell you what, let's head back to the title screen for just a few minutes while I do that, and we'll be back with you in a few minutes. got them centered now. I just artificially recentered them in my FSU IPC calibration. But this is kind of bizarre. If you go into joystick calibration, and if you look at this is what it's actually reading, and this is what it's actually sending to the sim. Okay, so that top number, notice I have it centered now, and it says it's, you know, 5,000 to the right. Now it's all the way to the left, and it should be reading 16,000 something, and it's only 6,000 something. And then when I turn it right, it goes. So I recalibrated it with those settings, and it's kind of, if you see the out now, it's going, you know, 16 minus to 16 positive. But the actual raw readings are only going up to about 6,000 to 16,000. So yeah, this is a hardware issue. I might just need to get a new yoke. But I guess it's gonna have to do. Alright. So anyway, we'll make do with it, and we will get rolling here. Let's go back to outside, and yeah, we still got our buddies next to us. All right, all well and good. All right, let's get rolling. Now I know in the PMDG, I actually have to go in and connect the ground power. That doesn't start connected like Zibo does. We'll go menu and FS actions, ground connections. See, we can remove the pitot covers, connect the ground. We'll go up top, and we will turn the battery on and ground power switch on. All right. Get the IRS knobs, whoops, IRS knobs to aligned. Get the logo lights on. Position lights will go to steady. Wing and wheel well lights can come on. We'll set the fuel and payload. That's also on the FMC here. FS actions. Payload will set random, but we'll kind of hit set random a couple times until we get a reasonable. Yeah, that's like 23 out of 174. No. We'll keep hitting random until we get. That's only about a third fuel full there. That's still less than half full. There we go. That's about 2/3 full there, so we'll take that. Fuel is, we're going to set that to 25,300. And center tank, we do have some in there, so we'll need to take note of that. Those center switches should be off, by the way, right now. I don't know why they always boot up as on, but I'll turn them off. And just looking at the levels to make sure that the sound is not too loud. Seems like the good sound balance is okay. If that changes, I'll adjust as necessary. Let's see, what's next? Let me get back to my checklist here. There we are. We'll go ahead and send our flight plan. That's in vPilot this time. Let's see, flight plan. IFR, we're going to go to, let's see, we're not a heavy, we are Slant LIMA. And we're at YPAD to YSSY, and our alternate YBBN. Departure time is, let's see, we're going to hopefully be wheels up at 9 o'clock Eastern time, so what's that, 10, 11, 12, 1, 0100 Zulu time. Time en route we think is going to be 1 hour 39. Fuel is going to be 446, cruise airspeed is 470, and we're going to go 35,000. Flight plan, as I said, was going to be Panky, H247, Kulin, Y59, and Rivet. Rivet, if I can spell that right. Alright, so we'll send that. Hopefully that's going to be good enough for him. See how it goes. We also want to fetch the ATIS. We can do that from vPilot as well. ATIS at YPAD is information echo, runway 5, 010 at 18, QNH 1018, echo. Okay. So since we got the QNH, we can pop down here and set that. Gotta remember how to zoom in and out now. I'm gonna be fumbling around with that. Let's see, we're gonna set that to INHG. And 10, what was it, 1018? Goldfish brain strikes again. 1018 is correct, okay, good. Alright, QNH is set. Then we'll, let's see, comms, let's see, we're going to start on ground 121.7. So we'll go ahead and get him tuned in. Where's the click spot for the outer one? There we go. 21.7, then the tower is 120.5, so we'll go ahead and preset that. Alright, let's go ahead and get our, whoops, that's my, our vPilot just says he logged off. No? Alright, well, I'll tell you what. Now we're on tower frequency. I don't know how loud the sound output's going to be on this. Wait a minute. vPilot's not detecting my push to talk. Okay, now it is. Oh, ground is back. 121.7. Let's go back to ground.
Adelaide, good morning. We've done the video. Check.
Alright, let's see. Let's go to settings.
Lufthansa 460. Good evening. I should say good morning. Here is 3 by 5.
Hopefully that sound balance is alright. Talks again, we'll see.
Would you be able to work on your mic a little bit? See you now 2 by 5, but I will give you clearer shortly. Thank you.
Alright, I do need to get my charts up in front of me because when he tells me what departure I'm going to be on, I kind of need to know what he's saying. So here are the options. Adelaide 3, Bendo 2 to Panky. So since my first point's Panky, I'm assuming it's going to be the Bendo. Let's look at it. So the Bendo 2 or the Panky 3. We're on runway 5. So if we're departing runway 5, that's this upper right one, right? So I guess that's the Panky 3. Am I reading that right? Yeah, looks like it's the Panky 3. Alright, well, we'll be ready for that. Adelaide ground, velocity 401.
Velocity 401.
Information echo, IFR to Sydney.
Information echo, IFR to Sydney.
I don't know why I'm hearing it loop back. Occasionally that happens in VPL.
Velocity 401. Good morning. Stand by number 1 for clearance.
That scared me. I thought I was talking over somebody, and it was my own voice that came back through. That was awfully weird. Right. Planning I can go. Departure runway will be 5. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the Panky 3 departure, so I'm going to...
All stations, stand by. A bit of a controller change at the moment. Stand by for clearance.
Alright, if it is going to be the Panky 3, let's look and see what the initial altitude would be, if it's listed here. Transition altitude is 10,000. Don't really see a top altitude listed. Not as familiar with these Jepson style charts. Definitely am more versed in reading the FAA style. But I do see where it says the transition altitude is 10,000 feet, so normally in the US you transition from going to locally calibrated altimeter to the standard altimeter at 18,000. Here we're going to do it at 10,000 according to this chart. But what I don't have is a top altitude.
Velocity 401 might be used for the short delay. Cleared to Sydney by Panky plane route. Climb over Sydney 8,000, runway 5, Panky 3 departure. Squawk 1063, departures on 125.3 at this stage.
And the squawk code again only, please?
$1063.
Okay, clear to Sydney via the Panky 3 departure. Then to the filed route, we'll maintain 5,000. Departure 125.3, squawk 1063, velocity 401.
Velocity 401, just confirming 8,000 on the initial climb.
Okay, 8,000 for the initial. Alright, so we'll give them a call when we're ready. The rest of the readback was correct as far as I know. Squawk was 1063. We can go ahead and get that set. and get the IRS knobs now into navigation mode. And the yaw damper on. And the FMC, we can go ahead and start programming here. Nope. Alright, we gotta get back into the FMC mode here. There we go. Alright.
Velocity 401.
Velocity 401.
Departure frequency will now be 124 decimal 0.
124 decimal
So correction,
0.
124 decimal 2.
24.2 velocity 401. Alright. Changing stuff around on me already, guys. Look at that. Okay. Let's see, we got the route. Will be the next thing. Origin is YPAD. I keep forgetting what it is, but it's YPAD. There we are. We're going to YSSY. The route is... let's see, departure and arrival. It's Panky 3, runway 5. Then the H247 to Kulin. Then the Y59.
Adelaide ground corner 730, request push.
To Rivets. And normally I would put in my expected arrival,
No problem, so push it down.
but down here in the Down Under, you get cleared on your arrival procedure, your star, as you're approaching top of descent. So for right now, that's all I'm putting in. Go to the legs page and just make sure. Nobble and then Rogs and then Panky. I think that's correct. Let's go to the Navigraph. Yeah, up to the Nobble and then Rogs and then Panky. Okay, we're good. Alright, so then we'll go back to performance initialization. Our zero fuel weight will auto-populate. Let's see. It's 12.8 in reserves, which is kind of on the high side, but it's because our alternate's pretty far away. Cost index, I just go 74, because why not? We're going to go 350 at the cruise altitude there. And we'll execute that, and one limit I can skip. Flaps will be 5. Center of gravity will auto-calculate. Trim is 4.92. We'll go ahead and get that set. Close enough. Go ahead and program our V speeds, and 149 goes into IAS hold there. The initial heading. What's the initial heading according to that chart?
Under 460, I was just about to text you clearance.
After Knob 1700, turn right.
You are clear to
Direct to
via
Rogs.
multi-plane route. Climb via the initial 8,000 feet. Honky 5 departure.
We'll go 042. We'll just go runway
1042.
heading, but we know we're going to make an immediate right turn, direct Rogs after we take off. So 042 will go into heading Guess I went the long way around. Initial was 8,000. The auto throttle can go on. The 2 flight directors can go on. What's the next thing? We can go, yeah, I guess we go LNAV and VNAV next, right? Go ahead and set the map range, just something useful that we can see what we're doing. And that'll be fine. Traffic and data. Alright, let's check on our upper panel. We'll get our first fuel pump on, get the APU started. While we're waiting for that to spool up, and we will watch and make sure that it doesn't spike out of control. We're watching the EGT gauge there, but we'll get the probe heat and window heat on. Get the cruise altitude and landing altitude set. Cruise altitude is 350. Landing altitude is 20 feet, and we'll just bop that to 0.
Call from FI16.
On the lower panel,
morning.
we're still watching.
You are cleared to Brisbane via 7 plane route.
We're still watching the EGT on the APU starting to come back down now. But while we're waiting on that, we'll set the auto brake and we'll reset the fuel flow counter. And then we'll wait for the APU generators, 1 and 2. We can disconnect now the GPU. Let's see. Menu.
Call from FI16, confirming 1077.
Did they just switch to the south flow? Yeah. Oh, that's Sydney, alright. No problem, yeah, I'm not even worried about flow at Sydney yet. Let's see, we disconnected the GPU, and I think we also want to remove the chocks. I guess I should make sure my parking brake's set before I do that.
Adelaide ground velocity 13.
Yep. Good thing, check that.
Velocity 1391.
APU bleed should be on, and it is, and PACs should be auto, and they are.
Yes, push approved and started your disc.
Okay. We would close the flight deck door if that mattered. We can close the entry door though. One thing I forgot to do last time because I forgot that in PMDG you actually control that. Alright, so doors are now closed. We can get the seatbelt light on. Get the rest of the fuel pumps going. And hydro pumps. Anti-collision light can come on. Wing and wheel well lights can come off. We're going eastbound, so we're going to use the right-hand igniters. We will make sure we got our pushback clearance. Adelaide ground velocity 401. We're ready to push and start.
Velocity 401, push and start approved.
Push and start approved, velocity 401. Alright, pushing away. Air packs will go to the off position. We'll ground start the, or no, whoops, other way.
Other way, ground, hello.
Ground start to number 2.
This is Qantas 7017, we just landed. Echo 2, thank you.
7.
We should see that start to spool up.
Welcome to Adelaide, hope you had a lovely flight. Taxi via Echo 2 and hold short runway.
There's 25, we can go.
Roger, so taxi Echo 2 and
Let's hold and push there.
full short 30. We are far away. We can have line to go on that. That would be great.
Parking brakes are set.
Thank you very much.
It's back inside the plane. We should see essentially 20, 40, and 60, and that's getting there. 20, more or less 400, and then about 60 there. So once we get it stabilized at 20, 40, and 60 or thereabouts, we know we're good on the number 1, or number 2 rather. Let's go ahead and start to number 1. Actually pop that back into auto. We'll see the number 1 start to roll. Agent B7NGX brings back memories. Yep. Yeah, sure does. Alright, getting close to 25% there. We'll pop some fuel in.
Adelaide ground on a 730.
And again, we're watching for
730.
20, 40, and 60, like I like to call it.
Tango 3.
And those are
And,
just round figures for mnemonic purposes, but 20%-ish N1, 400 and change on the EGT, and then 60% on the N2.
On a 7017, cleared across runway 30, Alpha 6, and
Alright, everything seems to be stabilizing. So we will get back up top,
Thank you, sir. I'll cross,
get our left pack back on.
hold short, sorry, hold short from 1.
Engine gen switches can come on, 1 and 2. ISO valve can go to auto. APU bleed can come off. APU itself can come off.
velocity 1391, okay. Continue taxi,
We'll do our flight control check.
Flight Tango, and please hold short, kilo, number 2.
And this is where we
Tango, hold short number.
gotta hope that our calibration's now working. I guess it's working as well as it's gonna.
440, continue taxi Lima, straight ahead to one of the available gates in the middle.
Check the brakes as well, but set the parking brake back on. Alright. Flight control check, we'll set flaps 5. Make sure that does indeed go to 5. And we'll check that in just a second. Get the turn off and taxi lights on. And I think we're ready to go. Let's check and make sure that our flaps went to 5. They did.
Velocity 1391, confirming that aircraft is back to straight course.
So St. Rock says they cleared 34 right and then 16 left and now back to 34 right. So they got you doing split S's up there, huh? All right, let's get our taxi diagram in front of us. And
730. After the company 747-400, continue taxi via Alpha
nope, I want that there.
and hold short runway 30.
And we're going to runway 5. We're in this vicinity here, so we're probably going down,
Hold short
probably something like that. But we'll see. Let's see what they say.
Velocity 1391, you can follow the company 737 in front of you.
Roger, we'll follow the company 73. Velocity.
The other thing is I want to make sure before I even go.
Going to 77.
Yeah, okay, so my layout is pretty close to what's on the chart here, so that's good.
Looks like a good spot for me.
Alright.
Say again the...
Alright. You ready, big brother? We're leaving you. Let's get back into the airplane here. Whoops.
On the right side, you see it.
Yes, that'll be fine. Continue practicing today of your discussion.
Thank you very much. Take those position. Much obliged.
And Adelaide-Graph, velocity 401, we're ready to taxi.
Velocity 401, stand by, another aircraft pass. Actually, no, it's not. Velocity 401, taxi Lima Alpha, and hold short runway 20.
Lima Alpha, hold short 30, velocity 401. Alright, away we go.
Adelaide ground, Golf, runway 5, start.
Golf Romeo 516, push.
Cruiser cruise, welcome.
Alright.
Climber 730, continue via Alpha 4, Foxtrot 2, cleared across runway 12, Foxtrot to the holding point.
Clear to cross runway 30 and 5 Foxtrot to the holding point. Runway 05 crossing, contact.
Climber 730, do you require the full length, sir, or do you can accept an intersection?
We're going to require the full length on 730.
Not a problem then. Continue taxiing to the holding point, runway 05, Foxtrot.
Alright. Going along Alpha 6. Basically, you're just going to follow the line in front of me here. Let's see, I gotta kind of watch and make sure I'm
3091. You can
not
also
running
follow
over the guy in front of me.
aircraft in front of me.
But here we go.
Velocity 1391.
Alpha 6, and then here's Foxtrot, and then down to the end. Didn't mean to come to a dead stop.
Velocity 401, you can continue taxi to Foxtrot 2, and you cleared across runway 30, Foxtrot 3, to the holding point runway 05.
Okay, Foxtrot 2, 3, and 5, and cross runway 30, velocity 401. Alright, what are we coming up on here? I'm assuming I'm still kind of just following the line here. So that's Echo 2, yeah.
Adelaide ground, Golf, runway 5,
Golf Romeo 516, taxi holding point 05 via Alpha 3, Foxtrot 2, hold short 30.
This is Alpha 3,
Alrighty. Just kind of slow down. Don't need to be Andrettian through these turns or anything like that. It's FSX, not iRacing, right? I got a little bit of a taxi out procedure to do. I want to make sure I don't forget that. We can get the weather radar on. Get the first officer's terrain radar on. Departure frequency was 24.2. We can get that preset down here. Well, wait a minute. We can't. Not until we get handed off the tower. Alright, but 24.2, just to keep it in mind.
Golf Romeo 516, cleared across
Transponder
runway 30.
mode. Go to TARA.
cleared across 30,
We'll get the chime on, let the cabin crew know that departure's pretty much on its way. Landing lights, taxi lights, start knobs. Well, we'll do the start knobs now. We can do that. We'll do the landing lights, taxi lights, and position lights once we take the runway. And then presetting the departure frequency would be the last piece. So there's Fox 4. Yeah, we want to keep going. Got somebody on approach there? Is it a balloon? I have no idea. What the heck is that? Somebody flying a balloon? And I thought he told me Fox 5, but... Agent B7 says it's a Mach 3 bypass on the hot air balloon. That's I think we're going the wrong way to do that, but yeah, I'd love to give him a buzz on short final. Yeah, it does kind of remind me of an Air Force Proud video, doesn't it? Yeah, maybe we should have been VFR. We're gonna have a little more fun.
On a 7 report ring ready.
Alright, so I don't need the one of Keith's recent streams, Agent B7 says there was something like that. I didn't see it actually. Oh, look at this. A cruise ship over there. That's nice.
All aircraft at the holding point for runway 05. Contact frequency 124.2 for takeoff.
24.2, so the tower must have logged off because he's switching us over to 24.2, which is our departure frequency. So yeah, 24.2. Indeed, where we're switching.
Contact 124, Dayton 2 for takeoff course.
124.2, lost 260.
Alright. He said all aircraft switch, so I'm not going to wait for him to call me specifically. (737-200) from one tiny airport to another, VFR at 12,000. Well, that was one on one of Keith's recent streams. That's pretty good. Adelaide departure, velocity 401. We're number 1 for runway 5 with you.
Call of 737.
Agent B7 says pilot edge gets weird sometimes due to the density and the public. Yeah. So
30 confirmed squawk mode Charlie.
yeah, so everybody's compressed in. Of course, I know they have the Western expansion, but their prime service is just that SoCal and NorCal. So when you compress all your traffic into that area, yeah, I'm sure it can get dense. Plus, don't they still have Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they still have what they call drone pilots flying around, so essentially, VFR aircraft that...
30 confirmed score from Mode Charlie and assigned score.
Oh, it's only SoCal, says Agent B7. I thought it was ZLA and Oakland. Maybe I'm misinformed.
Within 1022, I don't know if that's pairing the outsource from that.
But,
173 score 1 to 17.
but yeah, you can press all that traffic into...
Sorry.
They'll say Agent B7 confirms, yes, they do have AI VFR planes flying around too. So yeah, you can press all that traffic into just the SoCal area. Of course, it can get a little hectic, I'm sure.
And velocity 1391, wind 01018 knots.
Agent B7 says Oakland's part of the Western expansion. Okay, right. Gotcha.
Takeoff report airborne.
For some reason, I thought Oakland and LA were part of the core area, and then Western expansion gave you like Denver, Seattle, Salt Lake.
And velocity 401 behind the departing company 737, line up from wait runway 05 time.
Runway 05, line up and wait, velocity 401. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get our landing lights on.
Behind the departing.
Velocity 401, roger, behind the departing. It's already gone, so. Alright, remember, it's runway heading to 1,700 feet, and then we can make that direct turn. So actually, let's switch it into heading mode right now. Ooh, hit a little bump, didn't we? That was weird.
Velocity 1391, 1000.
Not exactly lined up, but not too bad.
Velocity 1391, identified, climb flight level 240.
So let's make sure I got everything done there.
Equals 0 for Juliet.
Departure frequencies preset. We did the, gonna get the strobe light on too. That's what I thought. That's what I forgot.
And all stations.
Landing lights on,
Adelaide-Sydney,
taxi light off,
current, wind
strobe light on.
01018 knots, QNH 1017.
Start knobs are set, so we should be good to go here. Anyway, yeah, reminder, Eastern expansion. No, I thought Western was correct. It's possible that it may have changed. It's been quite a few months since I was on there. But I thought Western was correct. Alright, so we are good.
And velocity 401, wind 01018 knots, runway 05, clear to takeoff, report airborne.
Clear for takeoff, runway 05, report airborne, velocity 401. Okay, throttles to 40%. They are good. We will go to Toga.
And New Zealand 361, when descent to 3.
Airspeeds are alive.
Zero approach, runway 05, report established.
Cross check. Yep. There's our rotation speed. Got positive climb going. We'll get the gear up. Pitch up to the flight directors.
New Zealand 361, Adelaide approach.
New Zealand 261, back to the
Through 400 feet now. We'll get the command engaged.
New Zealand 361, clear the RNAV Zulu approach, runway 05, report established.
And we're through 1,000 feet now. We'll start the flap retraction. 1,700 now. We can go, LNAV.
And velocity 401, identified, climb to level 240.
Velocity 401. We're passing 2,500 to 240. Alright. Continue the flap retraction.
New Zealand 361 has secured the flight.
New Zealand 361, wind 010, 18 knots, runway 05 clear to land.
Runway 05 is
All right, we're airborne. We'll bump the map range up a little bit. See a little bit more of what we're doing. Yeah, that'll do right there. Post takeoff, we can get the start knobs back into normal. Get the outboard landing lights off. And then down here we can get the auto brake reset and the gear lever reset. Alright, gents and ladies, so far so good.
And Quantum video leaving my airspace, contact number center on 125.3.
So Agent B7 says, okay, the western expansion is correct. The core area is LA. Western expansion is Seattle, Oakland, Salt Lake, Denver, and Albuquerque. Okay, Albuquerque is the one I forgot. But yes, no, for some reason I thought that Oakland was part of the core area. Maybe that changed, or maybe I'm just flat out wrong. Either is possible. Either is certainly possible. Gonna pull a little cheat. Let's just see how the event's going so far. Ooh, we got, wow, look at that flow coming in from the north. Good gracious. Everyone wanted to do Brisbane to Sydney. Very few northbound. Look at that. And oh, there's a cat straighter there towards the beginning of that flow. St. Rock, I'm assuming you're in that conga line somewhere. Look at that. That's impressive. Oh, we got a call. We got a Clipper. We got a Papa Alpha Alpha. That's Clipper, 1897. What's he flying? 738. Okay, so he's not not sticking strictly to the historical reference, but that's pretty good though. That's a streamer, Mike Bergman. I don't remember what his Twitch name is. ANO 717. And well, that's Cat Strader. I already saw him. Velocity 401's me. So I have a filter running on VATSIM that highlights known Twitch streamers that are known to me. Yeah, that is quite a nice line, isn't it? Agent B7 says a nice line, yeah. Look at that. I tell you what, the Australian VATSIM controllers have in-trail spacing mastered, don't they? Look at that. That is impressive.
Velocity 1391, you're leaving my airspace, contact number center 125.3, see ya.
35.3 is about probably what we're going to get in just a moment, so I'm going to go ahead and get that preset. 35.3. Now, that aircraft didn't answer, but I thought he was calling the guy in front of me and not me. Hopefully, I'm not incorrect about that.
Golf Romeo 515, Adelaide approach.
Yes, Adelaide approach.
Golf Romeo 516, behind the arriving 737, line up and wait runway 05 behind.
It looks like it's 25.3.
Line up and go behind.
If that spy is to be believed, that is 125.3. I may have just misheard there. We'll see what they say. 125.3. All right, we'll see what happens. But we should be getting that handoff just in a moment here.
Adelaide approach, velocity 13991.
Adelaide, velocity 1391, contact Melbourne Center 125 to Jason 3.
Okay, it is 25.3.
1253, thanks. Velocity 139.
Oh, 1391. That's a streamer also, looks like. The one we're following. Who are we following? Brad Crockett. I think that's,
Non-contact Adelaide ground 121.847.
I believe that is CXA001 on Twitch, I believe. Don't hold me to that, though. But yeah, so the velocity that we're following is a Twitch streamer as well. You got a lot of different vantage points. So West Wind 190. Oh, that's okay. I talked about him earlier. Yep. So you got a lot of different vantage points available for this this FNO, guys. Glad that you're with me for the moment. I was considering. Oh, we got another Twitch streamer coming in from the east here. Look at this. Air New Zealand 845. Who is that? Rich Mitchell. Yeah. See, the problem is, I wish there was a way to alias them so they would display their Twitch streamer names.
And Velocity 401, contact Melbourne Palembang Center 125 April 3.
25.3, velocity 401. Thanks. Switch over. We should be going into, yeah, so I should have switched over into standard at 10,000. I'm just now doing that at 18,000 because I'm American. But yeah, that transition altitude was actually 10,000 feet. And 185 now for 240, yep, okay. Melbourne Center, velocity 401, passing flight level 188, going up to 240. .350, velocity 401. Alrighty. What else we got to do as we pass transition altitude? Anything? Get the rest of the, as we pass 10,000, we can get the rest of the landing lights and the taxi lights off. That'll save us 5 cents in light bulb fees. And turn the chime off. That lets the cabin crew know that they can start getting up and around and serving our beverages of choice. Agent B7 says, by the way, ordered a 1 terabyte SSD. Operating system and the sim are going to be on the SSD where the games will go off the current hard drive. Well, that ought to speed things up a bit for you. That would give you plenty of room for a little bit of ortho scenery, I would think. And I believe that you're some breathing space too. Yes, indeed. B7, don't start. Did I say the magic trigger word, ortho? Getting addicted already. Yep, it's easy to do. I have only the Mid-Atlantic US installed because that's my home area, so that's probably where I would do most of my VFR flying, I guess. Of course, I do general aviation IFR all over the country, but mostly, I guess, I don't know if this is true or not. I guess the idea when I installed it was that I did only my home area because, I would probably do VFR flying in my home area where I would recognize some of the landmarks. I guess outside of that, it doesn't really do me much good to install a bunch of visual references that I would have no way of recognizing or appreciating. So I just went with my home area. I don't have the biggest and best and brightest machine anyway. I probably got enough space to do a few more of those sectors, but the Mid-Atlantic one does look pretty nice. I mean, I flew over some areas of my hometown and some areas of my resort town, my home away from home down in Ocean City, Maryland, and looks pretty nice. I mean, it looked pretty nice to the point where I was flying over some of the amusement parks down in Ocean City, and I recognized which one was which, and I could point out a go-kart track that I had done some racing on, and yeah, it was pretty neat. So Agent B7 says she's got the whole of Crimea, the Florida Keys, Las Vegas, and surrounding areas, some of LA, and planning to do Hawaii and Japan. Yeah, that'll take up a little space. For the familiar places, she says, ortho is crazy. Yeah, it was. I found that experience quite stunning. To be flying over a place that is very, very familiar to me and just be able to point out everything. You know, Ocean City, Maryland is one of those resort towns that it's kind of timeless. In many ways, I mean, it has changed a lot in 45 years. But in many ways, the key features have been there, you know, almost since I can remember, and it was neat to, you know, to go down there, you know, multiple times per year and know it like the back of my hand. Like I call it my home away from home. I mean, I literally feel like if I didn't live up here in the Baltimore area, that's where I would be. Almost got a job down there. Almost got a six-figure job down there. I think I was the second choice candidate for that job. Didn't quite get it, but I hear it may open up again in a little bit, and I'm probably more qualified for it now than I was when I applied a few years ago. But anyway, but yeah, so for a place that I've known since I was old enough to remember, it was really neat. Agent B7 says, we flew around Vegas with her fiance, who was born and grew up in Las Vegas, and she basically gave you a tour. In other words, gave you an aerial tour based on the ortho scenery. Yeah, I mean, it is that good. It was pretty striking. It is definitely that good. So one thing that I've found that I have to keep in mind, since I haven't been flying airliner flights as much recently, pretty much ever since I started I mean, I did a lot of GA flights prior to starting this stream last July. I mean, that was kind of why I chose to focus on GA flying, was because I felt like it was a niche that I filled well. But I did a more of a mix of airliner flying prior to streaming. I probably did more like 50-50. So, yeah, I'm sorry, the point that I was trying to make, and case in point, since I do substantially less airliner flying now than I used to, I'm not used to listening out for my airline call sign. Since it used to be about 50% of my flights were GA, now it's probably about 95% of my flights are GA. So 95% of the time I'm listening out for 514 Delta Victor. The other 5% I'm listening out for a call sign that I never use. So Agent B7 says she was piloting and her fiance did the talking. Yeah, I bet you that was a really neat experience. So Agent B7 says, yeah, airliner flying, if done right, is definitely not boring and has stuff to see. Oh, absolutely. No, I agree. I chose to do general aviation, first of all, because I love the concept of navigating by VOR only, and that's just certain. Of course, now you can do that in the what is it, the FlightAware 727 and there's a vintage 737 model that's Slant Whiskey. So there's definitely a couple airliners now you can do VOR navigation in, where you can do it in this airliner if you choose to, but why would you? So there is that now, but I just felt like general aviation was a better opportunity to teach some of the, I would not teach necessarily, but demonstrate some of the old school navigation techniques and hand flying approaches like NDB approaches and back course approaches and other stuff that you wouldn't really do in a commercial aircraft in these days. So yeah, I just felt it was a showcasing the stream on general aviation was an opportunity demonstrate a lot of techniques and approaches that you wouldn't ordinarily run across in an airliner. So Agent B7 says, I need to get deeper into the 727. Yeah, I definitely want to check that out at some point. I haven't bought it yet. I haven't come to a point where I felt like I had enough time to invest in learning a new aircraft. But it looks like an awesome piece of machinery. It looks like a lot of fun. I've seen Dane Flats on his stream fly it a few times. I've seen Cat Strader fly it a few times on his, and it looks like it's a blast. I'm coming into the summer months at my new job, the one that I started last July. The summer months are definitely a little bit more laid back for me, and last summer wasn't the case because I was learning a brand new environment, but this summer I'm told by my boss that this summer should be an opportunity to catch up and relax a little bit, catch up on projects, not only there at work but here at here at home. So I'm hoping that maybe over the summer when things are a little less crazy, probably after about a month from now, we're going to get into the Memorial Day holiday and beyond. Then things should slow down, and I should have a little bit of extra time and not be tearing the hair out so much with life outside the sim. That I should be able to devote a little more time into learning a new piece of equipment. Agent B7 says, I need to get deeper into the 727. It's absolutely amazing, not as scary as it looks. I don't think that it looks scary. It's just a little bit more old school, and certainly you've got the 3 positions. It's a 3-person crew versus a 2, so there's more viewpoint switching that you've got to do in order to keep up with everything. And yeah, it just looks like it's a handful if you're just first learning it. So I'll devote some time to it, but like I said, that'll probably be maybe a month and a half from now. And Agent B7 says, "Good, nice to hear that I'm settling in." Yes, I definitely am. It's been an adjustment, but it was a nice step forward for my career and a lot closer to home. They made me a pretty good financial offer to leave where I was, so I'm pretty happy overall. 727's a Boeing, which means perfectly developed flows. I agree that Boeing generally is designed well from a human factor standpoint. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you there. So, yeah, no, I'll be checking it out for sure. That's one to go. That sounds much less like my dryer buzzer than the citations one to go alarm does. You know what I need? So, you know what happens upstairs when you put something in the microwave and it finishes and you forget to go get it. The microwave beeps at you like every 30 seconds, right? I've always said, and I'm a bigger guy, it's not likely that I'm going to forget that I have food waiting for me. You know what I mean? But what I need the microwave to do is teach the washer and dryer how to do that. Because I'm constantly leaving clothes in there. Agent B7 says the MD is an absolute mess. Yeah, and of course the Boeing 717 is like the bastard child of Boeing and MD. So Agent B7 says our washer does that actually. Interesting. I was just about Bosch. Okay, I was just going to ask you that. What brand? Ours are, I want to say, Whirlpools, and they're fairly new. I think we just got them like a couple months ago. I want to say they're Whirlpools. I don't really remember. Is it sad that I have no idea what brand appliance I have in my house? It's probably, actually, if you go through the wall, it's less than 5 feet away from me right now. Yeah, no, that's a feature I felt like washers, dryers needed for decades. Microwaves had them, and it's like I said, you know what? At my size, if I forget that I have food waiting for me, that's probably not a bad thing. It's also extremely unlikely. Tell you what, I do have a drink waiting for me. Let's go ahead and crack that open. little weirdness going on with the yoke there. I'm not sure if that's the autopilot doing that or if that's my my hardware is kind of fighting with it maybe a little bit. I'm not sure. Yeah, I want to be careful bumping this too much. I want to make sure autopilot mode stays on. Should we roll the map range out a little bit? And we're kind of coming up. Yeah, we'll leave the map range like it is. No problem. Is that a tile boundary? What is that? It's a little unnatural there. Yeah, I don't know how faithful this is to the Australian landscape, but it's very brown and very flat, it seems, at least in this part of the country. I'm assuming once you get further up the East Coast, a little more green, a little more populated. I really don't know much about Australia, honestly. All I know about Australia I learned from watching Crocodile Dundee, so that means not much, right? That means I got the Hollywood version 30 years ago. HB7, it says it's perfectly accurate. Brown and flat. All right, very good. Australia, visiting Australia is definitely on my bucket list. Though I think everything I've heard is that Sydney and Brisbane are wonderful cities to visit. It's a whole damn lot of dusty nothing. Well, I've been there. That's 30 miles in any direction from Las Vegas. You get the same thing. Right? And you would know, right? Nevada is very complex compared, I guess. Well, just as dusty, maybe not nearly as, or not anywhere near as flat, right? Yeah, so star clearance available. See, that's a phrase that I'm not used to hearing in the States. But remember when I set up my route, if you joined us from the beginning, when I set up my route, ordinarily in the U.S., I would put in my best guess for a runway assignment, and and then as I get closer to the arrival airport and I get handed off to the approach controller, you got a 50-50 shot, or maybe a 1 in 3 shot of getting the runway that you put into your FMC. Flying in Australia and in other places where the ICAO procedure is used rather than FAA procedure. You aren't assigned your star until your runway assignment is known, and so that's something that that up in the FAA land. In FAA land, we're not used to. HB7 says negative. I watch from the pushback. Yeah. Okay. So when I set up my route in the FMC, I only set it up through the filed route. Rivet actually is the H247 to Kulin, and then Y59 to Rivet, and then that's it, direct. So we're holding off on the rest. Like ordinarily in the States, I would have put in, obviously I would know the star because I would have filed that. But I would put in my best guess for a runway. But here, not only do you not know your arrival runway, but you don't know your arrival star until you get to near top of descent. So I decided to just leave all that blank, and we'll do the realistic thing and just punch it in when we get it. So, yep, that's the plan. That's the plan. Is we don't have a plan. We've planned not to have a plan. Agent B7 says, watch Arison Gaming. He's moved back to Perth, which is, if I remember correctly, Western Australia. And he does regular both real life and live stream, real life and sim live stream from Australia. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, so, and apparently the ICAO procedure is similar here and in a lot of places in Europe, where you don't get the star assignment until you get the runway assignment, which is done shortly prior to top of descent. You know, in the States, we're just, we're the rebels of the world. We've got to do things our way. It seems like we chose the quieter of the routes here. Look at this. Yeah, we definitely got still a good flow coming in from Brisbane to Sydney. A little bit more of a scattering of traffic coming through our neck of the woods. Sydney, it looks like it's going to be quite a cluster. That should be interesting. If you're just checking in, it's the Friday Night Ops Down Under edition. So Friday Night Ops is generally a VATUSA weekly tradition. Each week, a different ARTCC within the U.S. hosts a major VATSIM event, and like I said, it kind of rotates around the country. So, but this is a kind of a unique one where VATPAC and VATUSA kind of partner up. And VATUSA reserves this week for this event, doesn't schedule anything up in the U.S. Of course, you have some, just random coverage that's available up there now. If we were to go look, I'm sure there's a handful of ARTCCs that are on. Yep. Good chunk of coverage down here in the southeast. Oh, there's cockpit builders up there in no man's land up in Cleveland. And you got Seattle on. And you got Anchorage on. Nice. So there's actually a pretty good selection of coverage, but the event is this. The Friday Night Ops event is down here in Australia. So the VATPAC, which covers the Australian zone, just gets in cooperation with VATUSA to reserve this week, where they're going to staff up everything at a time that is known to be prime time for U.S.-based pilots. So there's a bunch of us that are based in the States, and we fly regularly on Friday nights because that's when our weekly events are. We get a chance to do something a little different and go somewhere where we don't often go. This level of coverage in Australia isn't common at the times that I'm ordinarily flying in the evenings Eastern time. So it's a treat for us to be able to do a nice big busy traffic event with lots of air traffic control down here, at a time that's kind of considered prime time up in the States. So that's what it is. It's called FNO Down Under, and FNO stands for Friday Night Ops, but ironically, it's Saturday morning in Australia. Agent B7 says, I'm honestly confused with the airspace structure. The States are lit though right now. Yeah, there's a decent amount of coverage up there. For a night that's got an event going on somewhere else, there's a pretty good coverage. I guess all the U.S. controllers that would ordinarily be staffing up a Friday Night Ops are able to just stay in their home ARTCCs and jump on and do some controlling. So yeah, ordinarily 25-30 people would be committed to staffing up an event airport and its surrounding sectors and surrounding ARTCCs. And all those people are controlling in their home areas right now. So, yeah, just got to kind of listen out for my call sign here, Velocity 401. As I alluded to earlier, I've gotten so used to flying almost probably 95% of my flights now are general aviation, meaning that I'm always listening for that one call sign of 514 Delta Victor. So I got to really just make sure I'm listening out for Velocity 401 because I'm just not used to it. And used to when I flew about 50% airline flights, I was in a good habit of listening out for my call sign, whatever it happened to be that night. Velocity is Virgin Australia. Victor Oscar Zulu 401, Virgin Australia. So I jumped on. Here's how I kind of pulled my flight plan. And I was surprised by this because I always thought FlightAware was mostly FAA stuff. But I said, just for S's and G's, punch that in and see what comes up. And lo and behold, here's a whole list of flights from Adelaide to Sydney. And yeah, if you hover over any of these, QFA is Qantas, JST is Jetstar, and here it is VOZ 401, Virgin Australia, aka Velocity, and a bunch of 738s. So I actually was originally going to be Qantas 740, but somebody beat me to that one. So I went ahead with, I thought Velocity was kind of a cool call sign, so I went with that. And that's where I got that route, by the way, too. Of course, it's a pretty straightforward route if you go to the World High. I mean, you know, there's a couple of other different ways you might have gone. But if you look at that, nope, can't do that one. That one's a westbound route. So yeah, eastbound, it looks like this is pretty much the way to go. So if you go back to that one, I guess I should have left it up. YPAD. I just thought that ICAO code's funny too. YPAD, YSSY. But yeah, if you look at the frequency. Certainly,
usually in 25, 20.
Certainly looks like. Whoops. That said 97 before I scribbled over it, but that certainly seems to be the common route that's flying. So that's where I got that. I was surprised to see that on FlightAware. I thought FlightAware was mostly FAA data, but it worked. So there you go.
Here we go, arrival, like,
and I stole my gate assignments. You know, I'll tell you what, that's one thing we can start doing. I guess I've got a ways to go, really, before I'm near top of descent. But actually, is that top of descent now appearing on the nav display? Yep, looks like it. So I guess we're about 100 maybe 240 miles from top of descent, so we're still got a ways to go. But I can start briefing my arrival. I'm landing at gate 32. One nice thing about the Navigraph Charts app, go YSSY. Nice thing about the Navigraph Charts app is that it has gate diagrams. FAA does not have gate diagrams. I usually have to cheat. If it'll load. So this is why I don't use the Navigraph Charts app much, because look at how long it's taken to load. For some reason, I don't know what it is about where my internet provider is versus where Navigraph's server is, but it just takes forever to load sometimes. And it's not just when I'm streaming. It does this when I'm not streaming as well. So I don't know what to attribute that to. That exactly what you guys just saw is the main reason I stick with the FAA charts when I fly in the U.S. Adrian B7 says, last time I tried to plan a flight in Europe after 2 hours in PFPX, validations, NOTAMs, I just said I'm done. Autoplane was sim brief and decided that if they have a problem, I'll just accept the reroute. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that, you know, half the time, that's what you just got to do. If they reroute you, they reroute you. Okay, no problem. Punch the amendment in, and you're good to go. Follow your best guess, and if the controller needs you to do something different, they'll let you know. I'm all for it. Wow, there's a lot of taxi diagrams here. So there's the main taxi. Holy cow! There's the main airport diagram there. Parking bays, international. Parking bays, domestic. So these charts, parking locations, is what you don't get from the FAA charts on the FAA website. And that's why I like using the Navigraph ones when I can, because normally what I have to do if, let's say I'm landing at Salt Lake City. Have I seen the Navigraph beta? No, I have not. But normally if I'm landing at, say, Salt Lake City, I'll go KSLC terminal gate map. And I go to images, and then you can get, gate assignments from here. So that's kind of how I do that in the States. But here in the Navigraph app, it just comes right with. So that's pretty cool.
130 New Zealand 2526.
So that Velocity 401 flight that I found on FlightAware is arriving at gate 32. So I wonder where gate 32 is.
New Zealand 2526.
All right, so gate 32 is up this hill. It's right there. So I'm not sure which runway we'll be landing on yet, but we'll come up the east side of this long pier here, and almost to the base. So that's the taxi plan. First step, at least in the taxi plan, is figuring out where the gate is. So that much we can know now. That is helpful. Agent B7 has posted a link to the Navigraph beta for flight. Wow, that is cool. That is sweet. I love that, the way the charts overlay against each other. Yeah, that's pretty nifty right there. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Thanks for that. All right. Yeah, but for whatever reason, the Navigraph, the existing desk chart app, the charts just tend to load so slowly for me. And I have a decent connection otherwise, so I don't know if it's just where I am in relation to their server that's off, or I don't know, something. It is worse when I stream, and I know I don't have the best connection. Don't have the best connection, but it should go better than that. Let's do another kind of cheat peek here. Oh, there's some mats. I forget which region he controls in the Scandinavian area, but he's also a Twitch streamer. He goes by the handle of .wallop, and he's also very active. He's a VATSIM supervisor, and he's also very active in the forums and Facebook groups as far as somebody that is committed to helping new members figure out what they need to do. So good to see he's getting to do a little flying tonight. Awesome. Good to see you, Mets. Agent B7 says, "Oh, I know him. He's really nice." Yeah, he's a very active member of the community, of the VATSIM community. Very solid advocate for new members, and yeah, it seems that I've never met him, but he seems, at least in his online presence, he's a very good guy. Very much admire what he does for the community. I was hoping to be in a little bit more traffic tonight. It's been kind of quiet up here. Although, hey, Agent B7 has given you and me a chance to catch up, hasn't it? Not a bad thing. But yeah, I have a feeling once we get into Sydney, though. Yeah, I have a feeling once we get a little closer into Sydney, chaos will ensue. At least that's how it seems. Good gracious. I'll tell you what, we need one more of that Red Bull, it seems. Well, and the other thing I had said from the outset was, even though I'm flying under the velocity call sign, you'll notice that the outside of my aircraft, to me, is southwest. And the only reason I'm doing that is because all of my configurations I know are set up for this airframe. So PMDG allows you to set up each different aircraft with different configurations, and I know that there's a way that you can kind of switch, copy one from another. I'm just not real well versed in those commands to be sure how to do that quickly, and I didn't want to fumble around with it too much. So and my feeling is I'm the only one seeing that livery. Well, me and you guys when I do that. So yeah, me and my audience are the only ones seeing that livery. Everyone else that's seeing me on the VATSIM network right now is seeing me based on their pilot client's interpretation of my call sign. So hopefully, if they've got it set up right and they have the right liveries, they're seeing me as a virgin. Because I'm logged on as that VOZ with that VOZ prefix. So yeah, your pilot client decides how to make another player look based on two things: the aircraft type and the call sign. So what I appear as to myself doesn't really mean anything in that scheme. If I wasn't a live streamer, you all would have no way of knowing what livery I selected when I loaded up my aircraft. Agent B7 says, yeah, they're seeing me as a virgin. Yeah, I know. As soon as it came out of my lips, I was going to make a joke and I couldn't put one together quick enough. But yeah. Yeah, the whole brand is nothing but memes. No, I know. As soon as it escaped my mouth, I knew there was a joke there somewhere. I just couldn't formulate it in time. I guess if you want to speculate on the percentage of flight sim nerds that are also virgins, I don't know. If I'd come up with that 2 minutes ago, it would have been a little better, right? Anyway, no, yeah. You and I are, our senses of humor were definitely aligned on that one. I just wasn't as quick with that as I should have been. You know, again, it's just a sign that I need another little shot of Red Bull to keep me keep my brain engaged here. The Agent B7 jokes timing is a hit and miss. I try to be a little more on top of things, but tonight I definitely swung and missed on that one. Definitely swung and missed on that one. I ordinarily would start my arrival briefing at this point. I'm going to save the heavy lifting on that. As I mentioned, I'm not going to get a star and runway assignment until I get a little closer in. So I'm going to save the heavy lifting on the arrival briefing until I get that. I am, however, going to check and start checking to see if maybe we've got an ATIS in range. Sydney ATIS, yep. Information Hotel. Expecting ILS approach 3-4 left and right for arrival and departure. Wind is 140 at 6, so that's probably why they're flip-flopping between the 3-4s and the 1-6s. I guess 6 knots not enough to trigger a turnaround, so they're sticking with the 3-4s for now. Visibility is better than 10 kilometers. Broken cloud layer at 2,000 feet. That's gives us a little bit of pause. We may be in IMC for part of the approach here. QNH is 1026 Information Hotel. So we'll plan 34 left and 34 right. But we'll have to see what that means for us for our star as well. St. Rock says, don't worry, you can't get a crazier approach than I did. Well, yeah, it sounded like they were, that you caught them at the height of their indecision, it sounds like. Well, we'll see what happens. I do want to go ahead and get, let's see, I got... Let's get a bigger picture of what the airport diagram looks like. Okay, so it looks like we're going to... Was that DOM 3? What's a DOM? What's DOM mean? DOM. Wonder what that means. 4,000 foot per minute descent to get down there. Alright, but we're landing 3-4s, and it makes it a little easier as far as the turnoff direction, because if we land 3-4 right, we're going to turn left. If we land 3-4 left, we're going to turn right. And remember, our destination is right up here where, whatever that, I don't know what the DOM stands for, DOM. Yeah, whatever, ramp area 3. So that's fairly straightforward. What I think we need to figure out is we're coming in off of the rivet. Okay, so I guess we're going to be on the rivet 3. Does the rivet 3 have a transition for runway 3-4s? Rivet, Bigham, Tammy. Rivet to Bigham, then Tammy, then boogie, then turn right to Dudock, and right again to Nasho, and expect radar vectors. So I think it's pretty safe to assume we're going to be on the Rivet 3, and 34 left and right's a crapshoot. We might get either one, but this definitely seems like the arrival, and it's based on the fact that it's the only arrival that starts at Rivet. So Rivet 3, and then 34 left and 34 right. We'll take a guess and say 34 left, just so we can start briefing it, but we'll keep in mind that we can get switched at any point. So let's go ahead and get that programmed in, and we'll start looking at it as well.
$1,250,
1250, velocity 401, thanks. 250, oops, 25. Almost sounded like he said 2508. 250 must be right. And I'm going to bump the map range down a little bit just to decolor it some. Just about 100 miles from top of descent now. Melbourne Center, velocity 401, level at 350.
Velocity 401, Melbourne Center, today there's a Rivet 3 arrival, runway 34 left. When ready, descend flight level 250.
Okay, the Rivet 3 arrival, 34 left, and pilot's discretion down to 250, velocity 401. Alright, got some traffic up ahead. Alright, go ahead and set that down to 250. Now he said when ready, and that means the same as what would mean for us in the US, pilot's discretion, so by habit I read that back that way. But when ready basically means you can wait until you're top of descent. So we'll let the FMC decide when to start that. But we've now set it to 250. Let's go ahead and get the Rivet 3 and 34 left programmed in. Departure, arrival. Rivet 3 to 34. No transition, 34 left. Put that into the route and execute it. Get the fuel warning. That means we've bled out the center tanks now, so we can go ahead and shut those fuel pumps off. No big deal there. Whoops. I accidentally turned my autopilot off. I bumped the trim. But hopefully that's now reconnected it. Yeah, I bumped my rocker switch for the trim. That's all that happened there. But hopefully I think we're good to go. We're still on that VNAV. Flight directors are on. Command is lit. So should be good there. Alright, so we looked at this arrival. Let's make sure that the height restrictions are in there correctly. Go to the legs page. Let's see. We're gonna have to pull that off to the side. Alright, so it's Bigham above 8,000, Tammy below 9,000, then Boogie below, or yeah, above 6,000, right, then Dudock, and then Nasho. And then, okay, so that's good to go. Now let's look at the approach for 34 left. Come over here. So that'll be a right-hand turnoff. ILS or low 34 left. There we are. Let's see. It's 110.1 and 335. We'll go ahead and get that set. Oh, let's get the points checked here. Sausage. And then Attrit. And then the runway. Okay. Actually, we'll go ahead and get this in. And we'll do a 4-mile ring and a 10-mile ring. Alright. Minimums for straight in are 220. So we'll go and get that set here. Oops. 220, there we go. So what did I say the frequency was? 110.1 and 335. So we're going to get that set here. 110.1. 110.1. And 335. And over there, 335.
Track direct Harold.
Missed approach is... Gotta find it.
730, track direct waypoint Harold.
335, 500 feet, left to 320, and then 3000. Okay. So there's our missed approach procedure. 500, then left to 320 and 3000.
Runway 34, Circle 9 departure, Gulf 320, departure Sydney.
Let's see how that's in the FMC. Back to the legs page. Yep. Okay, it's in there. 335 to 500 and 320 to 3000. So it's in there.
4871.
Track.
Alright, what else? We adjusted the route in the FMC, we checked the legs, we need to do the initialization reference, the landing reference. So I don't do top guide or anything like that, I kind of eyeball it. We got a 13,000 foot runway, so we're going to just assume flaps 30. Auto brake 2, we want to stop somewhat short on this thing, we don't want to roll it too long. And the reason I say that, let's get it in front of me. So if we were landing right, I would want to pretty much light, as light as possible on the auto brake, because we would want to roll it all the way roll it all the way to the end, and then make this left and go right. But since we're on 3-4 left, we probably want to come to a stop somewhere around here and cut in. So that's going to be my goal, and that's why I figure auto brake 2 will probably accomplish that. Again, I don't do the top cat landing performance calculation. I just kind of eyeball that. But auto brake 2 should be good enough. And flaps, did I get the? Yeah, I got the. VREF will be 145. No. Landing hole short? No, I doubt that they're using that crossing runway there. Yeah, I doubt that they're using that crossing runway. Certainly, if we were going to try and land and hold short of runway 7, we probably would go flaps 40 auto brake max. Yeah, St. Rock says 25 is not in use. Yeah, I wouldn't think so. But yeah, since we want to kind of turn off with about a third of the runway left and have a nice short taxi into the ramp there, I figure that's probably a flaps 30 auto brake too. But then again, I just kind of take my stab at that. I don't do the full calculation like I probably should. pop the map range down one. So let's just make sure I got everything else done that I needed to get done. Legs page, yep. Flaps and VREF are set. Put the fixed rings in, 4 and 10 mile. Got the nav radio set, I got the courses set, I got the minimums and the auto brake set. Missed approach procedure I checked, and the taxi plan I got. Okay, we are ready. Looks like we're about 50 miles from top of this end now. Yeah, St. Rock says they do it at Miami. Yeah, so like I got the landing in Miami in the Cessna Citation. Can't remember it. So I think the 8 left and 8 right are up on the north end, and runway 9er is on the south end. And then there's that diagonal runway 12, if I'm remembering correctly. And I got to land and hold short 9er, land and hold short of 12. And it took away the last like 500 feet of the runway. It was like some ridiculous, like tiny little bit of length that you lose in that. And I was in the Cessna Citation, so I landed in like the first 2,000 feet of it too. So. Are you able to land and hold short? Yeah, that's Citation 514 Delta Victor. Are you able to land and hold short runway 12? Yeah, I should hope so. St. Rock says did it in a 737. Yeah, 737 is still fairly straightforward. There's no reason you shouldn't be able to. But certainly in the Citation, there was no reason there should have been an issue. Let's look at it. FAA. Terminal procedures. Okay, MIA. And airport diagram. And rotate that. Yeah. So yeah, I had the numbers right. Runway 9er. Yeah, so they had me landing on 9er and said, are you able to land and hold short 12? Yeah, you lose this last, probably not even 500 feet of length there. Like, yeah, I can do that. I believe I turned off at Tango 1 as well. Yeah, it might not have been Tango 1. It might have been Tango 3. I might have rolled it a little bit longer and turned off at Tango 3. Yeah, it seems to me I turned right and then it went up Yankee and crossed over here and then up to Zulu. And then I forget which.
130,
Yeah, I believe that's the route I wound up taking. would have been a lot easier if I could have landed 8 left. But they were swamped that night. I wasn't about to ask them for a runway switch. Agent B7 says my Miami base is Opelika, and the usual jet destination is Orlando. Yeah. So St. Rock says I think I landed 12 short of 9. Yeah. You still 12 short of 9. You lose even less. You probably lose 100 feet.
192.50 Robinson at A firm, still cleared to Sydney 5 Hotel, flight plan route. Flying blasted 5,000. Runway 34, station on 9 departure.
Excuse me, guys.
57 departure with me.
Recently 57 is the box, 5,000 initial departure with
In Qantas 9250, runway 34 for Hotel 9 departure.
All right.
That's runway 34 and departure is Hotel 9. Qantas.
So top of descent is in what? Can't tell what. I don't know what map range I have it on.
Gulfo 9. Gulfo 9.
Qantas 9250.
So 20, so about 15 miles top of descent.
Operation 730 for frequency and request your maximum speed on the thing.
Sorry, say again, please.
On the 730 for frequency, request your maximum speed on the thing.
Right, can you still next slide?
Velocity 401, reduce speed to 250 knots or less during the descent.
All right, 250 less during the descent, velocity 401. All right.
Military Guard, velocity 845.
Velocity 845, please continue by Hotel plan group.
Gonna go ahead and start slowing down now.
Runway 34, Hotel 9 departure. 4334.
That is, I'm assuming, because of that traffic right ahead of us there.
Sydney Live Hotel plan route, runway 34, departure.
So we'll go ahead and start pulling it down.
Velocity 845.
And then we need to be ready to start our descent here. Number center, velocity 401, leaving 350 for 250.
Velocity 401.
All right. Okay, so we will go ahead and get our seatbelt lights on. Oh, that I never turn them off. My poor passengers. They've now decided to ignore that. Well, hopefully flashing on and off. Whoopsie. Hopefully flashing on and off will get their attention. They'll put them back on. My bad. Sorry, guys. And, what was the other thing in the ATIS? Well, let's rebrief the ATIS just to be sure. And it's still hotel, and it's 1026. So that's the one thing I'll do now, just to help the FMC reach that target target descent. 1026. We'll go ahead and switch that over. Well, I don't want to switch that over just yet because we're only going down to 250 for the moment. And the other thing I need to check is what is the transition altitude. Let's go back to the. It's probably on the arrival chart. So let's go back to the rivet 3. Yep, 110 there. Yep, St. Rod, got it. Just as I found it. Yep, but 110. So that's when we'll make the switch. But I'll make that switch kind of early, and it will help the. No.
2730 108,000 10,810 36.
I told it to hit 250, and I think as soon as it started, the descent, it went back to the FMC speed. So
401, sequencing turn right heading 100, sequence flight level 130.
heading 100 down to 130, velocity 401. So 100. And down to 130. So, yeah, I didn't maintain that speed restriction. That's an oopsie there. But he's got us turning out of that guy's way now, so we're okay. Pop the map range down one just to declutter the screen just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, he's going to vector us off, and then he'll have us rejoin the course later on, and that'll give us a little bit of spacing to the aircraft ahead. Who is hiding behind one of those clouds.
One, thanks for the help, tractor. With it.
Was that for velocity 401?
Sorry, velocity 401, direct to the descend 10,000, NH1036.
Okay, 10,000, 1026, direct rivet, velocity 401. Alright, so we'll execute that. Go back into LNAV, down to 10,000, and we'll hit the,
Over Center, good morning, Emirates 417, climbing through flight level 121 for flight level 280.
Emirates 417, 1120 today, climb flight level 300.
Climb and maintain flight level 300, Emirates 47.
On 730, contact Sydney approach 124.4.
Contact Sydney approach 124.
And you can turn up 124.4.
124.4 for the 730.
Copy that notice, can contact Melbourne Centre 125, April 3, clear.
so it's got me in quite a slow descent now. So now it's gonna send me plummeting to the earth because I've unrestricted the speed.
41 back to 0 and holding from time like takeoff.
Yeah, but now I think what I'm gonna do is, now I think I'm gonna scale that back.
So we're in the whiskey, contact Melbourne Centre 125, decimal 3.
I don't wanna erase the spacing that he just got. So I gotta balance. I'll tell you what, let's just do this. Let's go into vertical speed. We'll do 2,000 feet a minute. Kind of do some manual speed management here. Throw some spoilers out. So this is one of those moments where, you know, VNAV may not be your best option. You've got a speed restriction, you got traffic ahead, you're still trying to get down to a reasonable altitude at a reasonable time. Your FMC is going to try and do an optimal fuel economy descent, which means idle thrust and maintaining speed through pitch. And it's just not going to work for the traffic situation. So that's where you just have to be willing to take control, take it out of VNAV, and use other modes to get the job done. So what's the VNAV path telling us? And we're still not descending rapidly enough to keep up with the VNAV path. But I don't want to descend any faster, and I got spoilers out now into flight mode. So I don't want to descend any faster because I don't want to pick up any more speed. But I am a little concerned that I'm losing ground on the VNAV path. We might need to get a vector for a descent there at some point. So that says we're going to hit 10,000 right there at that point, right before Tabby, where we need to be 9,000 below at Tabby. So we should be okay there. 24.4, velocity 401, thanks. 24 and 4, so let's look at that again. So the green arc is where we're going to hit 10,000, and then Tabby we have to be 9,000 or below. So we only got another 1,000 feet to lose after that green arc. So we should be good here.
Okay, max forward speed cancel restrictions block your
Approach velocity 401 is through 187 going down to 100. Alright, expect the ILS 34 left, velocity 401. Okay, we had hotel. Let me go fetch India. I forgot to check in with, got to check in with the ATIS letter anyway. Well, that still says hotel. Alright, we'll give them a minute to update that. Alright, so I think what we can do now is we can shallow the descent to 1,800 feet a minute. And we can start bringing the spoilers back in. Because it looks like that green arc, yeah, see here's what was happening. That green arc was coming towards me like we were going to stop well short of that Tammy waypoint. So now, you know, we can just kind of moderate that, but I can put the spoilers back. We're still kind of getting down to that 250, and we're still going to hit that 10,000 point prior to Tammy, so I think we're good here. Alright, spoilers are now deactivated. Oh, I put it on 1,700, that's fine though. Yeah, we're good. Alright, let's check Sydney ATIS again, see if the text is updated. No, it still says hotel. Approach velocity 401. We're looking at the text version of the ATIS. It still has hotel on it. Okay, no problem. We got it. Velocity 401, thanks. He's a little hard to hear, but descend via star to 5,000, velocity 401. Alright. I'm going to put it back in VNAV. Because I wanted to hit those restrictions for me. So I've got it back in VNAV now, and hopefully that should manage that. Up the map range down one. $8,000 or above, and we are.
Approach, good afternoon, Moses Paul, who's maintaining 10,000 in inbound decoy.
Let's just get that, okay.
Right, start to 8,000, checking the ILS, 34 right.
Alright, so basically just checking to make sure that it's going to hit the restrictions for me. Bigham above 8, Tammy below 9, Boogie above 6. So, we seem to be good. And then we're making that right turn out to the south. To basically a left downwind.
200 knots approximately.
So, everything seems to be going fine now. We're coming up on 10,000. Agent B7 says, I'm going to go say hi to someone else. Have a nice landing. All right, thanks, Agent B7. Please appreciate you stopping in and hanging with me tonight.
22 Bravo, say again, please.
All right, we're coming up on 10,000. We're going to go ahead and get the 10,000 foot procedure done. So on the upper panel, get the landing lights and the taxi lights on. Landing lights, turn off lights on, and then we'll hit the 10 just to let the cabin crew know it is last call for alcohol. Guess I should take one last sip of my beverage as well. There's that scattered cloud layer that they were reporting. We got some traffic up ahead there. A little bit of a cheat with the call sign flashing. Makes them a little more obvious to spot. But is that our, that might be our runway, or our airfield there. Yeah, it looks like it could well be our airfield. Yeah, so we're about 15-20 miles out from it, so that's probably it. St. Rock confirms that for us. Thank you, sir. Thought it might be. Uh-oh. What happened to my nav display? Oh. Bump the knob. I was like, crap, it's going to simulate a failure? That's not good timing. And St. Rock has renewed his Twitch Prime subscription as well. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that, man. It says somehow you weren't subbed. It's telling me that you subscribed with Twitch Prime and has subscribed for 2 months. So on my end, it's showing that this is your second month. So I don't know how it's showing up on your end, but it did report that correctly to me. So now we're a little closer in. You can see the 4 and 10 mile an hour, the 4 and 10 mile rings. Those are just going to help us with some visual cues as to when we should be configuring flaps and landing gear and all that stuff. So we'll talk about that as we get inbound. But those will be cues as to when I should be starting to. So at the 10-mile ring, I should be starting flaps configuration if I haven't already. And then at the 4-mile ring, we should basically be configured for landing if we aren't already. Cockpit Builders is bringing a party to watch us land in Sydney. How's it going, man?
Sydney approach, good afternoon, velocity 2255, sea level at 0 knots.
26-1, velocity 401. Alright, 26-1. Going a long way to 1. Alright. What's going on? Disavowed Player says we're back. Beach House is here. Auspicious One says hello. Yeah, we're just getting ready to touch down in Sydney, Australia. Doing the Friday night ops down under. In the doing a little switch up. I'm back in FSX flying the PMDG 737. And getting ready to turn onto the approach here. 120.5. I'm gonna just preset that because I have a feeling that's gonna be my next handoff.
Climb 730. You should bump your speed up to 210 knots.
Yeah, let's get one turning underneath of it, getting ready to join the arrival. Or getting ready to join the final approach course, rather. That's kind of cool. Sydney Director, velocity 401's 5,800 going down to 5,000.
Velocity 401, decent 4,000, and just would expect and extend, little extended downwind.
4,000, expect extended downwind, velocity 401. Alright. Basically gonna just put it into a vertical speed mode, 1,000 feet. Gonna keep it at 210.
Welcome back to
Spin the heading just to have it there, because I have a feeling we're gonna start gonna get turns. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and pop it in heading mode. 210, we can start going flaps. So I'll go ahead and get flaps 1 going out here.
FedEx 666, turn right heading 300.
Not going to slow it down much. So his command to tell me to expect an extended downwind. I'm not going to pull the speed down a lot at this point. Because that'll help him with spacing.
01. Turn left heading 360.
360, velocity 401. Alright, boom.
2730.
Now I'm going to pull the speed down to 170. Another notch of flaps. I'm going to tell the FMC that we're going to be direct to our, whoops. Tell the FMC that we're going to be direct and bound. That'll just give us a little bit of a guidance here. Kind of a backup plan if the if the ILS should knock out now, we have the FMC kind of guiding us on to where we should be. So that's just a little helper there.
Greg Jet 12 turning to 4,000, and we have India.
Jet 12, good evening. Descent to 3,000,
continuing to get flaps out as we get down to 170.
3,000 from Jackson, everything right, 290.
Airport's ahead to our left. It's probably behind that pedestal there.
30 contact tail, 0 to 5.
Unless is it that up there?
Oh.
Nah, it's probably behind that pedestal.
And FedEx 666, when I ever settle on, take tail to
St. Rock says, bad time for the computer crash. Any time is a bad time for a computer crash. I don't know of a good time. Alright, let me get my checklist in front of me. Alright, so, once again, missed approach. St. Rock says, at least I didn't miss the landing. Well, hopefully I won't miss the landing. Again, missed approach is 500 feet, and then left turn to 320 to, you know what, maybe we should get this in front of us. I know it was right in the legs page. Yeah, 335, runway heading to 500, and then 320 to 3000. Was that for us? Was that for Velocity 401?
Hey, Sam, Velocity 401. Decent 3,000, $20
3000, clear for the ILS, 34 left approach, report established, Velocity 401. Alright, so down 1,000 feet per minute. And go ahead and VOR mode that. Alright, coming up on that 10-mile ring. Get the chime on, that tells the cabin crew that knows that they need to secure. Get the spoilers armed. There we go. Begin flaps extension, we already have. VR mode is set, and then as soon as we get established on the localizer, we'll get approach mode. Alright, so yeah, missed approach is 500, then left turn to 320 and 3000. And a right turn off if we land. And our VREF is 145, V approach going to be 150. Go ahead and engage autopilot mode. Looks like we're going to capture the glide slope and localizer at about the same time.
Jet 12. You cleared the ILS approach runway 34 right, report established.
Alright, got the glide slope. Go ahead and get the flaps 15.
Jet 12 open lock. Velocity 401, when able, contact tail 120 less than 5.
1205, Velocity 401, thanks. Alright, go ahead and set our missed approach altitude. It's already there, 3000. And we can go ahead and start slowing to our VREF, get the rest of our landing flaps out. Sydney Tower, Velocity 401's on a 7-mile final, ILS 34 left.
Velocity 401, Sydney Tower,
Good idea. Alright. Gear screen, flaps are set and checked. Don't yet have the landing clearance. Speed's coming down to VREF of 150. So guess what? We'll make it my airplane. Set that to 145. Clear land 34 left, velocity 401. Got some goofiness going on with the yoke, but we'll get that sorted out. Pitch up a little bit. Back on the glide slope. Keep the speed up to 150.
I'll just 12 and double from the ILS for triple white.
Okay, 12 to be calculated.
Not maintaining the center line too well. Let's back on that. I think my yoke goofiness is still kind of plaguing me here a little bit. Alright. Now we're a little fast, so we'll start getting the speed down. 145 is our V approach. We'll get that down back where we need it to be. Come on, get on it, get on it. There we go. Now we're looking a little better. 300. Approaching minimums. We're continuing. 200. Minimums. 100. 50. 40. 30. Alright. Idle. 20. Pitch up.
Yeah, get after those 1002s on taxiway Alpha, ready on reaching the Alpha.
Yeah, burst is on.
1002 is down.
Through 60 knots. Cancel the reversers. Cancel spoilers and flaps. I'm going to go ahead and roll it long past the crossing runway, make the next right. That'll shorten our taxi a little bit. Not too bad. Not perfect approach, but not too bad. Yep, make the next right after the crossing runway. Exit right without delay, velocity 401.
Okay, 12, taxi guy Tango, Lima, right on Bravo. Turning right on Bravo, contact ground, 121.7.
Taxi guys, Tango, Lima, Bravo, and then
Alright,
Bravo.
I think we're going to hold short here. Golf short of Bravo. Melvin Leroy says 21.7, velocity 401. Melvin Leroy says, any plans for another flight? I think we're done for the night. Gonna get to 21.7. Sydney ground. Velocity 401 is off of 34 left. Golf short of Bravo. And we're going to gate 32.
Velocity 401, Sydney ground hello. Taxi via Bravo, then right Charlie 2, then join Golf for domestic 3, gate 32.
Alright, Bravo, Charlie 2 to the domestic 3 gate, velocity 401.
Actually, velocity 401 will amend that. Just taxi straight ahead on Golf, then domestic 3.
Okay, straight ahead Golf and then domestic 3, velocity 401. Yeah, that's what I thought actually. Get the diagram in front of me if I can find it. So that answers that question. What does the DOM3 stand for? Golf, and then just a left turn in there.
To the ground, that's 816 is ready for taxi information.
Let's see, stow the flaps and spoilers we did. We can get the landing lights off. Taxi light on, turn off lights off. Strobe light off. Get the APU on. Started.
Just 816 information India. We are ready for taxi. Just
And get the chime off.
6 Melbourne, sorry, Sydney ground. Thanks. Taxi by Charlie, cross runway 25.
St. Rock says, have a good night. Gotta go to sleep, 4 a.m. Call tomorrow, yep. So, that's going to be a bit of an early one for you. Appreciate you joining us, man. Appreciate the subscription as well, St. Rock. Thanks very much for that.
Lofty 165.
We're basically going up the last one on the left-hand side up here. What else we got to do on the taxi end? We can turn the weather radar off. We can turn the terrain radar off.
Contact tower 120.5.
Weather radar go off?
Full contact.
Yeah, it did.
Need
Okay.
tower on 120.5. Good. 431.
Ground,
Auto brake can get
12 is,
reset.
Home Bravo, approaching Bravo, hold point, 2 cross 2 call.
And we can go get the transponder back into altitude
altitude
only mode here.
Right on Dalton, parking at the end, domestic 5.
Alright.
Cross 25 on Bravo, right onto Golf and domestic 5 parking, Roger, roll.
Alright, there's our gate, last one on the left. Go taxi light off. Wing and wheel well lights on. One thing I missed on the approach checklist is I should have gotten the engine ignition switches back into continuous, and I somehow missed that. Other than that, I think I did all right. Having some control goofiness on the approach, so it wasn't a perfectly flown approach. May have been a hardware issue there, but also could have been poor pilot technique. Alright. We overshot it just a touch, but that's alright. Okie doke. Let us get this thing shut down and we'll check our ETA and fuel. Alright, what are we going to do here? Okay, APU gens can come on. 1 and 2. Parking brake is on. Fuel cutoffs go off. Seatbelt light can come off. Anti-collision light can come off. Fuel pumps can come off except for the one that powers the APU. Hydro pumps can come off. ISO valve open and APU bleed on. Probe heat and window heat can all come off. Air packs can come off. We'll set the squawk back to 1200. 1, 2, 0 and 0, and we'll put that back in standby mode. We'll go ahead and open the entry door here. Where are we? Where are we? Menu. FS actions, doors, open. We can also connect the, set the wheel chocks and connect the ground power.
Just 86 contact tower 120.5 today.
Make sure we've gone back into ground power mode. Now we can cut the APU off, the last fuel pump off, and the APU bleed off. On the front panel we can reset the minimums. Shut off flight directors. Set all our values back to their defaults. Get the trim reset. And we'll check our fuel and ETA. So I had said between 10:39 and 10:44. We're a little bit after that. We're 10:50 Eastern Time. So we're 6 extra minutes, I guess maybe 5 extra minutes getting onto the blocks here. But that's not too bad. And then we had expected to have 15,400 pounds left over. And we're about 1,000 pounds short. So it looks like my numbers need a little tweaking. Remember, my numbers were tweaked for the Zibo mod. And I'm back into flying the PMDG, so it's possible that I need to make some adjustments in my my estimates, but not too bad. We're 1,000 pounds in 5 minutes, so yeah, pretty close. Let's go ahead and get the rest of the plane shut down now. Get the center pedestal. See, the panel lights were not used. Panel lights. What else? We can go ahead and get the yaw damper shut off here. IRS knobs. Logo lights can come off. Position lights can come off. Wing and wheel well lights can come off. Emergency lights can come off. Alright, we can shut off the ground power and shut off the battery. Alright, radios go dead. And then we can, whoops. Disconnect all that, put the pitot covers on. And that is it. Alright, so that was a little FNO Down Under, a little unexpected stream for you guys there. Just another opportunity for me to refamiliarize myself with the PMDG 737 for VATSIM First Wings. I'm supposed to do, Melvin Leroy says, have a great evening. We're just getting ready to head out from Brisbane. Awesome. Well, have a great flight. I may stay up and catch a little bit of that while I'm doing the social media stuff for the stream. So enjoy that. I may pop in and see you. Thank you for everybody for joining us, everybody that came over from the Cockpit Builder stream. Always a pleasure to have you guys. Hope that you'll catch us another time. But again, so I'm supposed to be doing a tutorial flight for the VATSIM First Wings event, which is coming up on the 27th. So look for that this weekend, but this is why I've been doing a couple of flights in the PMDG 737 just to remind myself how to do it. And so hopefully we'll be putting that tutorial together. Oh, nice. Putting that tutorial together for folks that are new to the network as they want to jump on and learn how to play with us on VATSIM. Love that. That is awesome. This VATPlayer says our pleasure. Well, it's mine as well. I appreciate it. So, all right, let me get in front of me what is next on tap for me. So tomorrow night, I am going to miss my normal Saturday stream. I've got some holiday plans that are going to interfere with that, and then even if those get cut short, I think I'm going to end up on air traffic control over for virtual Washington Center's event. But unfortunately, it seems like I'm going to have to miss that whole kit and caboodle. So back on for you on Sunday night, though, and Sunday we've got the we were initially going to be doing the BE-58 tour, but Seattle VATSIM Seattle Center has added a last-minute GA event featuring Tri-Cities Airport and Troutdale. We're going to navigate right along the Columbia River. We're going to do a VFR flight, and we're just going to follow the river right down from Pasco, Tri-Cities, on into Troutdale right outside of Portland. So that ought to be a fun one. And that'll be in Beach Baron number 3, because you'll remember number 1, I burnt up the number 1 engine because I didn't fill the oil. Number 2, I crashed last Saturday. And the Reality Expansion Pack, by the way, did come back to me when I powered it up again and showed a crap ton of damage and 2 engines that needed complete overhauls, and gear and suspension was completely wrecked. And yeah, it was, yeah. So the REP, simcoders.com Reality Expansion Pack for the X-Plane Beach Baron. Hats off to them. Well, we got another departure going. Probably should pan back over this way so we can watch the next one go off. But the simcoders.com Reality Expansion Pack, hats off to them. They did a good job modeling. Well, I mean, I guess the plane would have been a total loss in that crash if you saw it. But when I came back to it the next time, it certainly did have an extensive list of damage. So they did their best to model the damage that would have occurred in that crash. So yeah, I basically had to reset it. We're on Baron number 3 now. But anyway, so we'll do that GA flight down the Columbia River up in Seattle on Sunday, and then Wednesday we'll get the DC-3 out, and we'll do some flying around Timmerman, Wisconsin. Chicago ARTCC's got a periodic Wednesday series now called Wisconsin Wednesdays. So we'll do some flying around around the Timmerman Airport and then Douglas DC-3. Then we get back into the First Wings event on the 27th, and we're going to do a live Q&A session for that. And we'll get back to the tour on Sunday, the 28th of April. So again, the usual schedule is Saturday and Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, and the occasional Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We vary that as needed depending on my personal schedule, real-world schedule, work obligations, and so forth. But the full schedule is available on the Discord channel and on the Facebook page, and it's where's the third place it's posted? Oh, it's on the Twitch channel information as well. So any of those places you can check out the schedule and see what we're going to be up to, and of course it's always subject to change. Speaking of the other social media and such, you can always check out our past broadcasts on the YouTube channel. Don't have a custom link for that yet. I'm still waiting for some more subscribers to get that count up to the point where I can put in a custom link. But for right now, you can just put the words Slant Alpha Adventures into the search bar with spaces, and that'll pop right up for you. The Facebook page and the Twitter page are both just Slant Alpha. And then if you wanted to find us on Discord, discord.gg/ and then that little jumble of text there that you see in the lower right hand side of the screen. So those are all the different ways that you can touch base with us and see what's going on. In the meantime, so we'll see you on Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, as we do that flight out in Seattle. So between now and then, I hope that you all enjoyed, and I hope that you all travel safely in your own adventures, and we'll talk to you soon.